Hi Virgo, welcome to your month ahead tarot with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose, hit that subscribe button. If you are already a continued subby, you know I love you for it. Thank you so much for being here. With that said, if you would like to book a personal tarot reading with me, you can do so on the website address below. And before we start, as always, I would like to bless all of my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So, just worth mentioning, as I do a weekly general overview, I also do a monthly general overview. You will only get that if you are on my mailing list, and you can join the mailing list in the description box below. For those of you that asked, thank you so much. If you would like to donate to the channel, you can do so on the PayPal link, which is also in the description box below. So let's have a look at your month ahead. In July, your actions and interactions with the world at large see you reaching out and connecting with people. And this goes beyond networking. This is about putting solid conversations together. The Eight of Wands is communication, text messages, emails. This is going to be a very busy month for you in terms of communication. The interesting thing is here, I feel like you're putting the finishing touches on something. Interesting then that Mercury is retrograde in your 12th house, especially if you're an ascendant Virgo, because it's, you know, it's happening in Leo, right? And then it dips back into your 11th house, which is your goals, your aspirations. So for me, especially with the Eight of Wands, because you're communicating with so many people, you're talking to so many people, and it's you initiating these conversations, right? You are reaching out to people, you are checking on dates. For some of you, I feel like you're checking on prices as well, like specific prices. You're saying, right, is that the price for this? Is this the final cost? I see you putting together something, whether it's an event, whether it's some kind of celebration. For some of you, it will be actually. Yeah, it's a celebration, and it's not necessarily a wedding. It's like another sort of celebration, and it feels like, you know, okay, well, I'm not going to go into that, but yeah, it feels like a celebration or an event of some kind, and for all of you in some way, shape or form, you're putting the finishing touches on something. This is you wrapping something up, but it's almost like you're doing the completion in July so that you can move ahead with it in September. And that's a wise way to be doing things, because obviously we've got the Mercury retrograde. But I kind of feel like this month you're doing that whole Virgo thing, checking the details, looking over things, scrutinizing every little bit to make sure that everything is in place or moving as it should be. The other thing as well with the Eight of Wands, it can represent mentoring. And as I said to you before, I feel like you guys are gearing up to do this. I feel like a lot of Virgos are pushing towards teaching at the moment, or getting the cogs moving on something that they want to teach or something that they want to offer the world. This month could very well see you making the kind of steps that you need to make in order to solidify the success of whatever project it is that you are ready to get out there or unleash upon the world. So your money and materials this month, you've got the Four of Cups. So there's a couple of things. I feel like your finances have been moving a bit slow, and they may well still yet. But what I will tell you with the Four of Cups is it always suggests that there are more options available to you than you can currently perceive. It's really interesting then that you've got this whole Eight of Wands things happening, because I feel like a lot of you are trying to shave money off of things, like where you've spent on stuff. It's kind of like you can get a better deal providing you're willing to, and it's not about hunting around or having to bargain hunt. The feeling that I get from this is if you approach the people that have given you a specific quote or that you're working with, there's something about this that suggests you have the gift of the gab this month in order to get a better price than the one you currently have, or the one that you've been quoted. So push. This is the month for you to haggle, right? Use that Mercury retrograde to your advantage. Look over things and say, well, this isn't quite, you know, I'm not I'm telling you to be really picky here, but just, you know, maybe you could say something along the lines of, well, having looked at what's being offered, it's not quite optimal. Can we do something with the price? This month you will very likely get a better deal than you are expecting. Just make sure, because it is the Mercury retrograde, that it still stands once the retrograde is over. All right. In terms of your physical health as well, it's definitely worth mentioning. Make sure you get rest this month, because that 8 of Wands, it looks like some of you are just constant round the clock. And I get it, if you're pushing towards getting something completed or finished, you do have to give it a bit more extra time. But if you're answering emails and text messages and stuff at like 11, 12 o'clock at night, you're probably, unless you work nights, of course, it's probably, you know, you need to think about that. No burning the candle at both ends this month. Your communications with the world at large, you've got the Page of Wands. So you are definitely creating something. You are putting something together that you want to help people with, but ultimately something that you enjoy. This month, I feel like a lot of you are planning a trip. I feel like you're planning some sort of vacation, which makes sense because it's that time of year. But I want to say to you, don't commit to anything this month. You need to be very open, because with the Page of Wands, sometimes it can see things happening spontaneous. The Four of Cups suggests there are more options available to you than you can at the moment kind of fathom. Keep things as loose and as open as you possibly can this month. This is not a month to, no hard and fast rules, right? You've got 2 fire cards here as well in your fire and your air sector, which suggests that things will be quite changeable. They need to be this month as well. So then, and it also looks like you're having a lot of fun this month. There's a lot of humour, right? And in moments where you are having serious conversations, don't let it get too serious. Be sure to inject a little bit of humour into those. So your heart and half sector, let's have a look at your personal relationships. You've got the 6 of Cups. For those of you that are single, it looks like an old social circle could very well see you reconnecting or re-schmoozing with somebody that you used to have a lot of fun with. It's transitory this month, right? You've got the Mercury retrograde, you've got Mars still in Cancer as well, until that moves. I can't remember what the date is for that, but I actually think it's yeah. Anyway, look that one up. But yeah, it looks like you're schmoozing and reconnecting with somebody from an old friendship group. There's lots of fun to be had, lots of enjoyment, possibly even fun times. But there's nothing here that suggests, it's more of a dreamy sort of, you know, holiday kind of fling feeling. There's nothing here to suggest that it kind of lasts beyond that. It may well, but don't treat it or look for it to be that. Just enjoy what comes up. It might be a week, it might be a month, it might be a year, it might be longer, but don't kind of get fixed on what kind of time limit it has, right? Just go with it and enjoy it. For those of you that are partnered, the 6 of Cups right next to the Page of Wands really does suggest for me that you and your partner are having a lot of fun, a lot of humor. There's lots of banter. You're getting that passion back where, and you know, you might find that this happens really quickly as well, sort of around, probably around the 7th, between the 7th and the 10th of July. And I feel like a lot of you at first are going to be like, they're being really picky lately. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? They're actually trying to get that banter back. Your partner's goading you or pushing you or pressing your buttons. And it's more like a, you know, like, and you might think, you're being a bit childish. Like, why are you snapping at me? And they're not snapping at you. They're actually just having a laugh. They're having a giggle. And if you can see it that way, there'll be so many fun times to be had this month. All right. So, and for a select few of you, you could possibly, yeah, all right, I'll leave that there. I won't go into that. Your first week of the month, you get the Lover's card, right? So love, definitely your personal relationships look like there's a lot of fun to be had, right? So you've got the 6 of Cups. The Lover's card itself is also number 6. This is about responsibility. This month, you will be looking at your responsibility to your partner. You'll be looking at your responsibility to your relationship, especially if you're in a relationship. For those of you that are single, the first week of the month could see you really, it could happen for you quite quickly out of the gate. You end up reconnecting with somebody and you're like, oh, holy shit, like I haven't seen you for ages. And then before you know it, you're on like a whirlwind fling romance. It could happen really, really quickly. It does suggest that this month as well, you really do decide to get something completed. Not necessarily finished up and signed off this month, but definitely whatever you can do to get things to where they are basically finished, that's what you're doing this month. You're making a real effort to get things to where you want them to be. Your second week of the month, you've got the Star card right underneath the Four of Cups. This does suggest that finances this month will not necessarily be, I don't see any stellar meteoric rises, but they will definitely be constantly decent, right? And I really like this as well with the Star card and the Four of Cups. It does suggest that this month you could be having a conversation where you notice, or somebody, you know, suggests something to you and you're like, oh, actually, over the long term, that could be quite lucrative, or it could save me a lot of money. So like I said, not necessarily a massive change in finances this month, but there will be glimpses into how you can make it better over the course of a certain period of time. So as an example, you know, if you get a windfall, you get a big lump sum in one. Whereas if, say, I don't know, you learn how to make $5 a day, £5 a day for 300 days in a row, suddenly, you know, maybe not just for one day, but over the course of that 300 days, that ends up being quite a lot of money. It's about finding some way to develop accumulative wealth this month. So your third, or saving, you know, it could be a cumulative saving of some kind. Like, so, you know, you find something that ends up costing you less each month, and so therefore you save that way. Third week of the month, you've got the World card, right? So your communications are definitely taking on a different feeling, a different quality or texture this month. And the fact that you've got the World card, this is about you leveling up in some way, shape or form. Humor, fun, enjoyment, laughter, those are your keys to get through the month, but also to get to where you want to be. Virgos have a really dry sense of humor usually, and it can sometimes be, and I don't care, I will say this, and I know a lot of you will probably bash me for it, but I've met some Virgos that have a really crass sense of humor, and you're like, oh, cringe, that one was scraping the barrel. And it's really funny because it's highly inappropriate, right? If you have that kind of humor and you've been dampening it down, let it out. On another note about this travel that I was talking about, this is the month for you to either think about your travel plans or find something. And because of this whole thing that's going on with your finances, you could really find a bargain deal for travel this month. It looks like it's long haul rather than short haul. So if you live in, say, the UK, think stateside, think the Maldives, like, you know, places that are really far away from where you are. And for those of you that are stateside or over in Canada, you would be thinking about going to Europe. This is not something that happens like in your usual spot. This is about finding a trip, and a bargain trip at that, to go to a place that you've always said to yourself, like, yeah, one day I want to go there. You know, this month you could very well bag yourself a fantastic deal. So keep your eyes peeled. And then finally, your fourth week of the month, you've got the High Priestess, right? And it's right. I wanted to try and get away with not bringing this up, but I'm going to have to now. The High Priestess represents the sign of Cancer, but she's also the first gate that we all pass through, right? She's that watery, formless world. She can represent the womb. With the Six of Cups there, plus this as well, and then the Page of Wands, this could be a month if you're looking to conceive, if you're looking to have a child. For some of you, if you're, you know, of a certain age, or you've decided that you don't want children, this could happen very spontaneously, and it could change your status in some way, shape or form. So this month you really need to be careful. If this is not something that you want on your journey or on your path, be careful. For those of you that are going through these transitory flings, be extra careful, because the chances are you could be like, oh yeah, it was just a whirlwind romance. Ah, fuck. You know, like, not that it would be, you know, any child is a blessing. I truly believe that. But if that's not what you want and it kind of happens by surprise, it can really, you know, mess with your, you know, your whole, well, not mess with, it can really change or alter or your status or your life path. So this is a month for all of you, single or partnered. Be really, really, hot on your precautions when it comes to enjoying your physical pleasures. I had to find like a really, my cheeks are going red now as well. I had to find like a really, you know, polite, articulate way to say that rather than what I was actually thinking. That would have been like the street kid coming out of my mouth. So I'm glad that I was able to curb that impulse. So let's have a look at your key to the month. What is your overarching or overriding theme or message? And this month you got the World card. There is definitely a change in status coming this month. So for those of you, like I said, just be really, really conscious of that. But the World card as well represents you leveling up. It represents something in your life changing or shifting. We've got an eclipse this month, so it's definitely possible. It's definitely something that could really shift and change for you, but also your outlook and your understanding of the way that things are in your life and what you actually want them to be is really going to shift this month. I mean, the World card always suggests that you've put in the work. You've done the work in order to gain that title of mastery. So for a select few of you, whatever you've been studying or working on, this is where you get the accolade. This is where you get the pass. This is where you get the title or the deed or whatever. You know, if it relates to a contract, especially try and hold off. If you absolutely have to, 1st of August at the absolute earliest. All right. I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic month. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care and I'll see you soon.